Hi, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and open tonight's meeting. Call to order tonight's meeting before. Can you do roll call, please?
Absolutely. Member Core,
Here.
member Pretty,
I'm here.
member Bonsley,
Here.
member Cianciola,
She's absent.
thank you. Member Lamb,
Here.
member Quilty.
Here.
And President Tommy,
Here.
thank you.
Thank you. Information on closed session agenda items. We'll be going over personnel listing, public employee evaluation of performance, as well as conference with labor negotiator. Do we have any public comments on closed session?
We do
agenda?
not.
All right, thank you. We'll go ahead and recess the closed session. We're gonna go ahead and recall to open session. Can we please stand for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Are there any requests for agenda reorganization? No? All right, there's nothing to report out of closed session tonight. Student reports.
Good evening to the school board and audience. River Valley has been having a great year so far. Our winter sports are doing amazing. A few days after our last meeting, River Valley and Yuba City had their basketball game where varsity won 52-41. Their last game was against Del Campo, where they also won 73-63. Our girls basketball has also won their last game on Friday, 56-49 against Nevada Union. Wrestling has also been having a great season and will have their senior night tomorrow. Our boys soccer is also on their last game on Friday, 5-1 against 12 Bridges. Our girls soccer has a game tonight and we wish them the best of luck. We're so proud of all of these athletes and the hard work and talent they put in. I want to congratulate senior Harshdeep Kaur. She submitted her art to the annual Scholastic Art and Writing Competition and received multiple recognitions. Among her honors, she earned the prestigious American Visuals nominee for one of her pieces, making her one out of only 5 artists from Northern California whose artwork has been selected to compete at the national level. This is huge not only for her and our school, but for the entire district. We are so proud of her. This week is our homecoming week. Our theme is A Tale as Old as Time, so Disney. We kicked off our Spirit Week yesterday with Sleeping Beauty, where students wore pajamas. Today was Cinderella, and we wore mismatched shoes. Tomorrow is Tweedledee and Tweedledum, and everyone will match with the twin. Thursday is Fox and the Hound, where we'll be wearing orange and camo. And we'll end the week with Friday, being Winnie the Pooh and bringing stuffed animals. Friday will also be our rally, where we'll recognize student achievements, play games with students and staff, and just overall have a great time. Friday night will also be our homecoming game for boys basketball. We themed it Frozen and everyone will dress up in their snow gear. The following day, this Thursday, will be our dance, Cinderella's Ball, which is coming together very nicely and will be a night full of memories. This has been some very fun and busy weeks with all of the games and preparing for homecoming week. Because of this, our student body has a request for the school board. On our Chromebooks, Pinterest is banned and we're unable to access it. Pinterest is a handy resource that helps us find inspiration for events, projects, activities, and more. I know a lot of students also find it helpful for visuals in their class assignments as well, such as putting these visuals in slideshows. We are asking that the school board look into unbanning it and on our school computers, as we think it's a great resource to have. I really hope that you consider this. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you, sweetie. Can you tell me what time the rally is?
Oh, let me look at my schedule. I think it's later in the day. Give me 1 second, it's on my phone.
Mrs. Counts probably knows.
Yep, 1:15 to 2:05.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I took mine off before coming to the meeting. I didn't think it was professional. I didn't want you guys to look at me weird.
All right, baby Smee, staff recognition.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Director Rocco to the podium to introduce our employee to be recognized tonight.
Good evening. board, staff, and audience. Thank you for having me here tonight. Very excited to announce tonight's staff member to be recognized. This is one of the most fun parts of my job. I truly enjoy it. Tonight we do have a very special staff member to recognize who's been with us a long time. We know through recognition, it helps improve productivity and employee retention, and it helps our schools in a positive way, and the staff and the students, and it helps us achieve our mission statement as a district. So with that, I'm really excited tonight to turn the podium over to Principal Reinhardt, who will be presenting our staff to be recognized. And I've known this staff person for a long time, so it's kind of special. So very good. I'll let Mary do the rest of the talking. There you go.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here tonight. I am here tonight to honor Melissa Arnold, who is basically the culture of April Lane. She embodies everything about April Lane. As the admin secretary, her smile greets families and students every day. Customer service takes a whole new definition with her friendly demeanor and her kind tone. I'm gonna lose it here in a minute, sorry. We've known each other since West Walton opened, we worked together. And so it's very special that she's here tonight in front of you. I'm so proud of her. She's a beacon of positivity and the resilience in face of adversity. Melissa puts order to the chaos of the day-to-day operations of a school office with finesse and precision, ensuring that everything runs smoothly. In her capable hands as office manager, things run smoothly. Teachers are allowed to teach and students are allowed to focus on learning, which obviously is the most important thing at April Lane and at every school in Yuba City. Melissa is a master of multitasking. She juggles late students, birthday treats coming in, the radio going off, new student registrations. She handles all of this with a myriad of responsibilities and grace and efficiency. In a blink of an eye, Melissa switches gears, is organizing jogathons, she's gathering cume records, she's helping new students, she's a problem solver, a quick thinker, and adapts to the fast pace of a school office. Our motto is to stay the course. Melissa does this to the best of her ability for our students, our families, and our staff. That's her bottom line. She stays the course for April Lane. And for that, we love her to pieces. Okay. This is your certificate.
Thank you.
Now we get to take pics.
Okay.
Mary knows the drill.
Yeah. I'm holding your certificate, that's okay.
I had like 3 times magnification there.
That's close.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. We are the OGs, you know.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Report and information. California dashboard update and mid-year LCAP.
Good evening, school board audience. This is exciting. I don't usually get a big audience for this presentation, so you guys all came for this, right? For dashboard presentation, right? Hi, guys. I'll email you the presentation. Good evening. Today we have a update on our California school dashboard and a mid-year update on our LCAP. And there's no action required tonight. This is strictly this presentation on the update of the dashboard and our LCAP. Some of these slides are somewhat repetitive. We went over this for our English and language, our English and math in October, so I'm not gonna spend too much time in that. This is just some highlights of our California school dashboard. We're actually in the midst of our testing season, so a lot of our schools are starting on their testing this spring, and those results will come out in June. Just as a quick reminder, the dashboard's like a report card for our schools. There's kind of 5 focus areas that it it measures our schools on. Standards, communicates how we're doing, there's 8 state priorities. And lastly, it informs our annual budget and strategic planning for our LCAP. There's 6 state measures, well, there's 7 on there, but there's actually 6 measured now, and 5 local indicators. And each of these will be identified in the presentation and where we're currently standing with that. The 5 local indicators are self-reported by our LEA, so we actually have to go. We do school climate surveys with students, staff, and parents. Basic conditions talks about our conditions of our facilities, our standards, and access to courses, identifies all of our courses we have in our district. One of the things about this I thought was really awesome is there's 14 student groups represented here that are part of the school dashboard, and we're one of the 105 schools in California of the over 1,000 school districts that has all 14 groups in our district, which is really, kind of a celebration of our diversity in Yuba City. What's new? There's some new updates. The California test is on the dashboard. It's only informational. We'll actually have an indicator next year as a color. Something else they changed this year is, in addition to our LCAP being on our school website, you can access the district LCAP on the dashboard website. Additionally, we have a new student group called LTELs. Those are long-term English learners. We have updated differentiated assistance from the county. And for our college career indicator, there's the 5x5 charts we're returning for our college career indicator. I'll get to that when we get to that slide. These are the state indicators. Just I'm not going to go in detail on this, but basically, the better we do, we move over, and we move up, and we do better. So if you want to move out of the red to the orange, you have to increase in how you're doing at your school and the district. And that's how we increase from going from one color to the next color. These are the results by color based on our indicators. Looks like one of them is getting kind of cut off in the bottom there. The suspension rate is yellow. I talked about ELA and math in October when we had the CAST results. So similar message with that. We're in math and English, we're kind of stagnant. There's been up and down growth over the last 5 years. Obviously, COVID had a major impact on us. And the student groups who are still struggling are pretty much the same, especially students with disabilities. Similarly with math. And the thing about this, if you look at this, it tells you on the right-hand side how many points from standard we would need to increase to move to the next color. So if we only moved as a district 7.9 points, we would have went from orange to yellow. Similarly, in math, if we would have moved 6 points higher, we would have moved to the yellow. So we're making gains incrementally, but I like how this shows us like how many points we would need to move the lever.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And I don't want to make this a longer presentation than it needs to be, but how do we compare, there are several districts that we always look to for comparison because they're same size, same type, demographics, et cetera. How are other schools doing?
This will be like slide 35.
Okay, I'll put up.
No, I'm kidding. I'm guessing 35. It's coming. It's not 35, I promise. I hope.
All right.
There's 28 slides.
Okay, well, 28 is close. It's still not 35 then. Science we don't have an indicator color yet. We'll get that next year. That's probably the closest one we're at with this is the one we're probably closest to state measurements with is science. Science is 5th grade, 8th grade, and either 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So unlike ELA and math, they do it from 3rd to 11th grade. I mean, they do it 3rd to 8th, and then they do it 11th. This is only 3 grades. 3rd, 5th, 8th, and then it has to be once either 10th, 11th, or 12th grade for science. English progress indicator. These are our students who are making progress in becoming fluent English learners. We had just a slight decline by 2.1%. Graduation rate, 81.1%. This includes all 4 of our schools. Something to note about this is, so at RV, we're at 82%, Yuba City High School, 85.6%, Albert Powell, 79.2%, and YCA, 52.8%. And those are our 4 schools disaggregated. And the biggest increase we had with a student group was homeless. Our homeless population, there were 54 students last year who tested. They almost gained 12% in their graduation rate. And so I think that was pretty awesome. Like those are students who are, think about our most struggling students who are just struggling, like finding a place to stay. They're bringing it and they're graduating. So I thought that was pretty awesome to see.
Tina?
yeah.
Quick question on graduation rate.
Yeah.
For the kids who graduate early, right, that are like, I don't know if you guys,
Early grads,
yeah, like, do they get counted in
Yeah.
this or do they get counted as?
they're in this current cohort. So if we have an early grad now, they count in this current cohort. Like this
Okay.
year.
I've got 11th grade. Graduate or mid-year, 12th grade.
The 11th grade one, I'd have to get back to you on specifically on where that is in the CalPAS, but I know for like current seniors who are early grads, they count in this year cohort.
Okay.
Yeah. 8 more students, we are in the green. Which I think is very doable. We decreased since COVID, since 2019, we're at, I think, 86%.
Does summer school come in? Do you reevaluate the numbers when
They
they
count.
have the summer grads?
Yeah. So summer
There's
grads are
great-
included in that.
There's gonna
Yeah.
be your, oh, great.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into too much detail, but we have a college and career indicator. And it includes these elements. The ones that would pertain to Yuba City Unified would be college credit. We have dual enrollment in our district. Obviously, we have AP classes, CAST, which is the test we give, the state test assessment. UC A to G, we do have, it's not on this specific slide, but district-wide, we're at 33% A to G district-wide. CTE pathway completion is 31%, so that's actually comparable, CTE and dual enrollment. If you break it out by site, River Valley has a 43% A to G completion rate, and their CTE completion rate, meaning you complete one pathway, just one pathway completer, is almost 50%. Yuba City High School has a 35% A to G rate, so they're lagging 8% behind River Valley. Their CTE completion rate's almost half of what River Valley is. They're about 23.8% CTE completion rate. Let's see.
That's odd because they have a higher graduation rate.
Yeah, that probably, I would say probably maybe scheduling could be a challenge for that just because of courses, number of courses you can take probably is probably the reason. Yeah. Because you can take more CT courses that were about.
Right.
So this is a really strong area here. We're in the green on college career indicator. The awesome part about this is we offer a lot of CTE pathways and a lot of dual enrollment options. So kids get to choose their path. They want to do construction. At UBC High School, there's a construction pathway. They want to do digital art, there's a digital art pathway. If they want to do digital art, construction, and take a college course, they have that option. So I think that's the strength of Yuba City is kids get to kind of decide their path, and we just get to make sure we have those opportunities for them. Chronic absenteeism statewide has decreased. This is like the most decreased indicator across the state. Even currently at mid-year right now, we're actually decreasing our chronic absenteeism. Every school, other than 2 K-8 schools, have decreased their absenteeism. The most decreased right now is Tierra Buena. They're at 8% currently on chronic absenteeism. And that is phenomenal. Because you guys remember we had this conversation the last like 3 years. But we're continuing to see a lot of decreases in our absenteeism, which I think is a testament to the work of our social workers, of our teachers, counselors, our administrators, just really focusing on doing home visits, on calling these parents, calling these students, which I think is pretty awesome. I'm really proud of that work. Suspension rates decreased 1.3%. This is an area that we continue to work on. There's a balance between giving kids opportunities to repair harm and making sure that when students do something that's dangerous or that violates education code, that there's also accountability for that. So there's kind of a two-pronged approach to that, but we have seen a decrease in suspension. Kind of getting to what Shelley's getting at is just comparably, you look at California and Sutter County, we're kind of at where California is, a 2.7 average across all of our metrics. And then if you look at like districts, and I'm going to kind of name some. So we have 25 similar districts. The ones that I think are closest to us that were on this list, Natomas Unified, Yuba City, obviously us, Woodland, Marysville, Tracy. They actually did an average from like the highest is a 3.7 average based on all the indicators. We're at about 2.7. So we're ahead of Woodland, Marysville, Tracy. Those are like the most local districts we recognize. This is the color chart, and you notice we do have our charters that we charter, our Yuba City charter and Twin Rivers on that. One note is the Yuba City Independence Academy is the blue there. That's just because they're online, they're a independent school. So they're not suspending students because they're independent study. If that was great, if that was red or orange, we'd have a different discussion. And this is just kind of a rating. If you look at those groups, one of the groups you really need to continue to focus on in our planning is our students with disabilities. And that raises us a lot of questions on access points for the students, more supports, more tutoring, getting them more involved in CTE course pathways, getting them more engaged. There's a lot of, I think, growth that we can have there with those student groups.
Are the ratings out of 5?
Yeah. I'll skip that one. So our mid-year update, just looking at our LCAP. So we have 3 board goals that the school board developed, and those are our LCAP goals specifically. The first one is on academic and social and emotional support. The green indicates they're going to be complete or they're in the process of completion. A lot of our LCAP is staffing, so we pay for a lot of our staffing with teacher certificate and classified support in support of those goals. And so I'm not going to read every one of them, but our counseling, our social worker services, we staff our social workers and counselors, our PE specialists, all of our CTE teachers are funded through our LCAP, and that directly affects our students because it gives direct services to our kids. And you can see our CTE completion rates at our schools are increasing. Our second goal, which is I think our biggest one, is math and literacy. I think overall we would say those are the 2 biggest areas of growth in our district. At the same time, we do know that with chronic absenteeism, kids have to be in class to learn. And so all of this kind of cross-pollinates. The one there on the co-teaching and PD, we have the funding for that. We're still working on getting that training set. That's why I put that as that color. Third one, the last one, is parent and student engagement. And this includes all of our campus supervisors, our probation officers, our resource officers, PBIS, our social worker outreach, behaviorists, technology, athletics, transportation. And transportation athletics is a significant piece of our budget. And we, with athletics and with performing arts support, we understand that getting kids involved in electives, getting them involved in something they enjoy, gets them hooked into school. And so that's why we support that through our LCAP. And then currently our balance currently is 7 million. And that's because there's still a lot of stuff that we're paying for, PD we're paying for. I mean, we still have half of a year to continue to extend that budget. That top part is just kind of calendaring out our current LCAP planning. We just had our leadership input session yesterday with our assistant principals and our principals in some of our cabinet level positions. We've had 2 LCAP advisory committees with students, parents, teachers, union representatives, labor representatives. That's actually been really fruitful. Like the last one was awesome. Like they were staying later than it was supposed to end, and they just stayed. And I was like, you guys are awesome. And we brought pizza too, so that helped. And we still have surveys we're sending out to certificated classified staff, to students. We're working with our DLAC group, our district English learner advisory committee, to get feedback on their needs this upcoming school year. So that's just kind of an outline of the calendar. In June, Scott will be bringing his budget public hearing. I'll be bringing the public hearing for LCAP, and then we'll be asking for approval. And there is an error on the last one. In July, we submit it to the county. They don't actually approve it, I think, till October. So I didn't get a chance to fix that, but the approval in the county isn't in July. I believe it's in October. So I just wanted to clarify that. Try.
Nice job.
Any questions?
I do have one question on, the goal two, the co-teaching and CD.
Yeah.
Co-teaching, is that SPED and general ed?
Yeah.
Co-teaching?
So what we're trying to do, looking at our students with disabilities and especially math and English. Looking at kind of recalibrating our training for both for the staff who do co-teaching. I think it's been a bit since they've had training. And so I've been working with Liz on working with Chico State on doing some like kind of refresher training on co-teaching.
And can we make sure that paras who are also in the classroom working with the teachers?
Yeah.
Are part of this training as well?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great idea.
Okay, thank you.
So it's in process. It has not been completed yet.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
All right, we have a few comments from the public on items that are not on the agenda. So, Madam Clerk. can you please read this?
I will. That was good. The Brown Act, specifically Government Code Section 5495.2, provides that no action or discussion shall be taken on any item unless it is adequately described in a timely posted agenda. Accordingly, though the public may comment on matters within the board's jurisdiction that do not appear on the agenda, the board cannot respond to such comments without running the risk of deliberating or initiating discussion on topics not properly before the board. Given the prohibitions set forth in the Brown Act and the risk associated with responding to public comments, the board does not respond to the community's questions or comments. The board will respect the rights of the public to express their viewpoints on matters within the board's jurisdiction. However, comments that are defamatory or that violate the privacy rights of any students or individuals may not be protected by law. The board shall not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of board meetings.
Perfect. It looks like, I've been told that there's an order, which you guys want to speak, so I'll make sure that I honor that. And we'll go ahead and get started. Statements are limited to 3 minutes, so just try your best. Okay, all right, first is Jaspreet.
Hello and good evening, board members and audience. We are a dedicated group of district speech language pathologists committed to supporting the diverse communication needs of our students across Yuba City Unified. As professionals who work closely with students facing challenges in speech, language, and communication, we strive to develop and make a positive impact on students' academics, success, and social development. However, we are currently facing challenges related to our workload that hinder our ability to serve all of our students effectively. Tonight, we would like to shed light on the increasing demands placed on SLPs in hopes of developing opportunities to not only address these challenges, but also to attract and retain highly qualified SLPs in our district. We have prepared a presentation in front of you detailing the responsibilities along with salary schedules from surrounding districts for comparison. By investing in our profession, we can ensure continued growth and success for our students while also fostering a good work environment that supports long-term success of our dedicated team of SLPs. We want to thank you for your time and consideration.
Next is Anjali Randalla.
Hi, my name is Anjali Randalla, and I am a second-year speech language pathologist. I grew up going to school in this district, and I knew when I graduated I wanted to move back and work for the district that I went to school in. However, I did not know I would experience burnout so quickly and early on in my career. Last year, I had over 100 IEP meetings. For those where we don't get subs to cover our sessions, and we're legally obligated to make up those sessions that we missed due to meetings and testing. We are constantly taking work home, staying late, and prepping for therapy on the weekends. We do more than just therapy. We are pulled in so many different directions. I also have a preschool on my site, And so those of us who have a preschool on our site are also obligated to serve and provide therapy for preschool. As a new speech language pathologist, I am able to look at other settings where their salary is higher, where the workload caseload is more balanced, and where there is a smaller caseload. If we want to retain and attract new speech language pathologists, we need to make some changes to make Yuba City Unified more appealing and a place where new and current speech language pathologists want to work and not become burnt out so quickly.
Kendall Naso?
Naso.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Hi, board members and all in attendance. I'm Kendall Naso. I'm a first-year speech pathologist. And just to continue on with what Anjali was saying, as new speech pathologists, we are onboarded with experiences limited to our exposure in graduate programs and internships. This can mean that we are taught very differently from our colleagues within Yuba City Unified School District, and the expectation of our roles are drastically different from what we've been taught prior to beginning as brand new speech pathologists. This often leads to an increased workload as we attempt to learn more about our positions and how to support students in the school setting. We start our roles as new SLPs, working weekends and late nights, simply trying to keep up with an unfamiliar workload and learning seemingly new material, such as SACE and district-wide expectations and procedures, all while our caseload numbers continue to increase. This can cause us to feel like every step forward we take, the floor is moving us 3 steps back. And as a new speech pathologist learning my role, my greatest fear is being unable to fully support students. I don't want to fail my team or my students simply because I cannot stretch my day to fulfill all the requirements that I'm learning each day as I go.
Lisa Squires. Did I say that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Lisa Squires. I am a speech language therapist working at Butte Vista Elementary School. I've worked for YCUSD since August of 2011, and this is my 10th year working at Butte Vista. In total, I've been a speech language therapist working in various California school districts for the past 24 years. When I first started in speech language therapy back in 2001, things were much different than they are now when it comes to special education. My workload has substantially grown since 2001, due in part to lengthier IEPs, such as the amount of paperwork and clerical work, which is now just astronomical compared to 2001, more students needing support in speech language therapy, and then the shortage of speech language therapists that's seen across California and the entire United States. Despite all of these changes, I still love my job and truly enjoy working with the students and families. One thing that I would love to advocate for in this district is a salary schedule that is comparable to the surrounding school districts. I feel that this is the best, easiest, and fastest way to help our district attract and retain speech language therapists. As I already mentioned, our workload as a therapist has drastically increased over the years, and it is very difficult to do the best job I can when I'm having to cover 2 or more school sites because the district is unable to find and hire the right amount of therapists to get the job done. Being asked to cover multiple sites, over the years has added more stress to an already stressful job. And then I feel like it impacts our overall health and well-being, and it's not ideal for therapists, students, and the families that we are working with. These past few years, my caseload of students has been around 80 plus students, not including students that I also see for intervention. So those students who do not have an IEP. The California Education Code, it's 56363.3, states that our caseload should be no more than 55. And as you can see, many of our recent caseloads have all exceeded that number. When things like this happen, we are all affected by it, even the students that we serve and their families. So I kindly ask you to consider what we are saying, and hopefully we can work together to come up with a solution to help YCUSD attract and retain speech language therapists for the future well-being of everyone. Thank you.
Sharon Law.
The old lady of the group. My name is Shari Knoll. I am in my 37th year of working as a speech and language pathologist and my 35th at Yuba City Unified Schools. I have seen and experienced many changes over the years. And unfortunately, the expectations and demands of my job as an SLP seem to get more difficult every year. Over the last few years, I found that my work and life balance shifted in an unhealthy way. Unfortunately, spending lunch working at my desk, working an hour or more after school almost every day, and spending many Saturdays and holidays writing reports, IEPs, and progress reports have become my norm, just to try to keep my head above water. Some of these reasons have already been shared, but I think a few of the reasons why this workload has become so overwhelming is because our students in general have become, have had more difficulties and issues, which is an increased number of consultations, assessments, and meetings, as well as the larger caseloads. There's been an increased expectation of SLPs to case manage students with more than just speech and language concerns, which is different than in the past. A lot of kids with autism, some with occupational therapy or school-based mental health. The addition of TK classes and some preschools and SDC classes on some sites as well. More than 100 IEP meetings a year, as someone else had mentioned. And besides being the case manager and attending those meetings is writing all the paperwork. Paperwork has become more cumbersome. IEPs have become longer, and we're expected to maintain not just the special education file, but also loading, scanning and loading everything into the special education information system. And in the last few years, we're now expected to do service tracking for every student we see every day. Personally, I plan on working one more year. In the next 5 years, 4 of our district SLPs will be retiring and 1 will be moving out of state. As a district, we need to increase salaries for SLPs to help attract and retain qualified SLPs that will be committed to our students and our school and our community. If it means adding hours or days to our contract, I'm in support of that because I'm already working those hours. We appreciate you listening to us and taking time to consider the information that we have shared.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. I'm gonna make a motion. There's no questions.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
A motion by member Pretty, second by member Core. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Action item 14A, instructional continuity.
California school districts and county offices of education are required by July 1st, 2025 this year to establish continuity plans to ensure students are provided instruction when natural disasters or other states of emergencies make in-person classes impossible. Examples also would be COVID, fires, any things that have happened lately. So we're seeking approval for the following instructional continuity plan. And these plans have to be included in every site safety plan that will come to you guys in March.
Any questions? Any motion? Take a motion to approve.
Well, second.
On a motion by member Lamb, second by member Pretty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. B, non-reelection of probationary certificated employee. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve.
Second. A motion by member Pretty, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. C, NV5 task order agreement for project 598-0824 dash 240-5002.
That's a lot of numbers,
That
yes,
was a lot.
that's
That was a
kind
lot.
of funny. So anyways, we've talked a lot about the solar project over the last number of weeks and months, and this is just a part of that. So the NV5, as I initially discussed, we were kind of approving the whole project. They are our partner in this. They a consulting firm that really understands the solar industry, and they kind of really kick the tires and helped us get wrap our heads around the whole project. So in further discussing with them, We want them to continue to be our partner through the implementation portion of the project. And so this would again include some of the services I listed in the staff report, review, design, all that kind of stuff. So we have about $190,000 in kind of really rough projection of expenses. It's going to be based on the amount of services that we actually need from them. So it's kind of time and materials, but we don't expect it. We don't actually in the contract, it won't go over $100,000. And so we're hoping for approval of this project, part of this contract.
Any questions? Any other questions?
I move that I do have a little bit of a comment first.
Sure.
The only thing that bothers me about the solar is that we're not planning on meeting or exceeding the current use. It's coming in at a little bit lower, the number of solar panels won't provide 100% or more than we need. That does kind of bother me, but I understand that that's
There's some
practice,
technical
but-
reasons for that.
I get it, but it just doesn't make intuitive sense.
Yeah.
So with that said, I will move that we approve.
Second.
On a motion by member Pretty, second by member Bonsley, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. D, resolution BR 2425-024, resolution of the Board of Trustees, the YCUSD authorizing participation in the zero emission school bus infrastructure. I think this was presented at the last board meeting.
Yeah, so exactly. So this was presented at the last board meeting and really just kind of getting a temperature if we want to move forward. This is still not committing us to anything. So this is just part of the application process to get a board resolution to apply for it. We still have more work to do on this. I have some follow-up information because there were some questions raised at the last board meeting that I just want to share with you, and then I'll let you and then really the next steps will be for us to continue to do our due diligence, bring the information back to the board, answer any questions that everybody has. And so I'm thinking this is probably 2 additional sessions. I'm just giving you a little bit more background here. Information, answering questions, kicking the tires, doing everything. And then following that, we bring stuff to the board if the board wants us to for approvals. Yes.
Scott, I thought there was kind of a time limit in terms of applying for that grant.
So that's what this is. There's a time limit to get board approval to move forward with it. So
Oh,
that's what we're doing
Just to
right
apply
here.
for the grant.
Just to apply. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the.
That's what this
urgency.
is, okay.
Yeah. And so just some information regarding, just a couple of the questions. Again, we'll do more answering the questions in the future, but there's questions about the age of, condition of our bus fleet. We have roughly 56 buses in our fleet. And it is an older fleet. So our average age is 17 years old on the buses. Average age is roughly about 2008. Buses over 15 years, we have 33 buses that are over 15 years old. Buses under 10 years is 19. So again, our fleet is older. We've done some replacements over the last couple of years here, but it is an older fleet. There's an additional question that we're gonna have to get some more information on, but about the replacement batteries. They are expensive. It's over $100,000. We'll bring more information of that back, but there are definitely, different bus companies have different guarantees and warranties of how long those will last. So that's some initial feedback on some of the questions. We'll do more as we move forward.
Do you believe it's true that as the technology progresses, these costs might come down?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I really do. Technology will go, get better, and we'll get more range and more capabilities out of, and also as you just continue to, economies of scale, right? So you produce more, the cost, will go down.
Well, I know in 2000, the thought of putting a computer in every kid's hand to take home was exorbitant. You couldn't even consider it. Now
Right.
it's common practice. So,
Yeah. So.
thank you.
Any other question?
Well, the other thing is, not only how long the batteries last, but, okay, I just lost my train of thought. That's what happens when you get old.
It happens to me, so.
Never mind.
But, we have plenty of time to answer questions going forward, so we're not committing to anything.
I'll start writing them down.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
Just text them.
I move that we approve.
Second. On a motion by member Pretty, second by member Lamb, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. E, resolution number.
That's a lot, you don't have to read
I want to.
it.
so
Okay, you go.
It's for the record.
Yes, it is.
ER 2425-025, authorizing the execution and delivery of certificates of participation in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed 35,500,000 to fund capital projects.
So again, we didn't really group our board agenda items very well because they're separated here, but we talked a lot about this and at the last, so we have two members of our audience. You will remember Jeff Small, he presented at the last board meeting, is with Capital Public Finance Group, he's in the audience. And we have a new member, so Sean Mick is next to him. And he is our bond counsel for moving forward to fund this project. If there's any detailed questions in getting into these documents or reviewing any information from last board meeting, they would be the people to ask. So that's why they're here. But just kind of as we discussed at the last board meeting, nothing has changed from all that information at the last board meeting. Everything is as we talked about last time. And this is just approving the resolution and all the documents that go with that to make all this happen. It is this right here. It's a lot, I get it. But that's kind of all just the legal documents that we have to do to move forward to make this happen. And we're looking for approval to move to the next stage of funding this project.
Any questions? Any motion?
I make a motion to approve this.
I'll second that. Okay. On a motion by member Bonza and a second by member Core, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Are there any board reports, information, discussion? Nope. No, any charter school stuff? No. Okay. Communications, are there any written communications from the public, Ms. Laura? Thank you. Comments from employee representatives?
Good evening, board, members of our audience, staff, and whoever's out there in Zoom land. I'm Mercedes Geraldo and I represent our classified unit. I want to start by recognizing Melissa Arnold. She is a rock star. She is amazing. Probably don't know it, but she starts taking text at about 5 o'clock in the morning to fill subs. And shows up to work probably maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock to get that work done. So she's really out there going above and beyond. So she's well deserving of this award. Tonight you approved 3 MOUs from CSEA. One is just closing out last year's layoffs. It's a little late, but better late than never. We got it done and put it to bed. 451 is recognizing Ed Code 45102, which just basically is saying that for classified employees that are working on summer school and that sort of thing, that we are being paid our statutory benefits, CalPERS credits, that sort of thing going in, and a pathway to, if that wasn't happening, on how to get reimbursed for that. And then finally, you approved a job description for our new visual and performing arts assistant that I talked to you about last week, our last meeting, and the contract or the MOU saying that CSEA understands that you're going to have to contract out some of this work until we can get these people hired. So we're looking forward to the short term of that and the long term of the new job description, the new bargaining unit members. And I want to talk again about the para conference. I do appreciate the district has once again offered to send 4 paras to the conference. Unfortunately, not 4 people can go, and here lies our problem. Paraeducators make somewhere between $19 and $23 an hour, and they work up to 6 hours a day. So not a lot of pay coming home. The cost of the conference almost has to come completely out of our pockets. The district, we were usually able to get the registration paid for up front through the district.
Sometimes we've been able to get the hotels paid through the district up front, or, so it's not coming out of our pocket. Other times, there was one time that I ended up putting everybody's hotel on my credit card just because we couldn't make it happen, right? And there's airfare, there's their per diem. The district's policy, which I assume is board policy, is that we don't pay money up front for these conferences. That's my understanding. I know many years ago, we did get our per diem up front. The district would book our flights for us, that sort of thing. And if we really want to make sure that our paras are trained and getting this good quality training, we gotta help them out a little bit. I understand we get reimbursed, that's great, but having a $200 flight on your credit card for 2 or 3 months that, I'm gonna get reimbursed for the base for, but not the interest that I'm paying on it. Or the hotel's not too bad, because if you do have to pay that, it's at the last minute, you get reimbursed fairly quickly, and I do appreciate that. But I would like the board to make that consideration to change that policy, that it's really not fair to, not just classified, but certificated as well. If we're going to conferences, we're putting our time, we are released from work, but oftentimes it's more time than what we normally work during the day, and we're okay with that, right? But just having that money up front, or that payment up front, so it's not coming out of our pockets, would really help with staff that are taking advantage of training that's allowed to them. So I do appreciate your thought of that, and that's all I have to say. Good evening.
Back with my mismatched shoes. They're the same size, I mean, like the same level.
The green was small.
And the red and black, so it matches with Valley. And I'm sure. Hi, I'm Trinity Counts. I'm representing YCTA tonight. And I'd like to thank Tino for his LCAP presentation. It was very informative. And I really like the comparison between the different districts. I enjoyed looking at it ahead of time. As I looked at some of the issues in there, the students with disability and also the EL students, I teach high school. So one of the things I think that we can really look at whenever we come back to the bargaining table is our class size. I teach classes of 34 with 10 EL students and 5 special ed students in the same class. So it becomes really difficult as a teacher to be able to help those students with disabilities as well as those EL students to move forward whenever I'm one teacher to 34 kids. And I see that with my other peers that teach math and my peers that teach English as well. Tonight you also heard from our SLPs and the challenges they face. And we would like to hope that their message is heard as we come back to the bargaining table on February 27th, so that we can find ways to attract and retain all educators. As a rep member, the stories of teacher burnout are real. I'm in my 21st year, and the last 6 years have been the hardest years of teaching for me. COVID isn't necessarily the reason. It's past and gone. My students now they were 4th grade whenever COVID hit, so they should have sprung back. But teaching kids, as SLPs have said, their needs are different, the demands are different, the parents are different. So with that, the burnout is real. I encourage each board member to really come and visit teachers, and not to do a formal visit walkthrough with our principals, but to just come in and talk to us. Come in and see us during our lunchtime. As like the SLP said, many of us are in our classroom during lunch, grading, helping students during our 30-minute duty-free time, because we know those kids need help. And so our lives are slowly being sucked away from us. And I'm looking at, can I retire at 50? Which I can't. I cannot retire at 50. So that is what I'm asking for you, just to come and visit and say hi. Thank you.
Thank you. I like the green and black.
Thank you. I was very happy.
Brandy, I taught all the way till 5th period one year, not realizing I had 1 black and 1 brown shoe on.
I accidentally did it at Lyndhurst too. You could probably ask Billy. One day I accidentally did that, 'cause I think the power was out.
Sorry. Comments from board members? None. Comments from superintendent?
I just will be sharing with you, CSBA is offering their menu of course options, virtual or in person. There is a new board member virtual workshop, if you'd like to attend, Member Bonflet. But Laura will send that out in the Friday. And then also, in front of you is just the district's policy regarding immigration, and sharing of documents and access to our campuses. So that document was shared with our school staff. There's a messaging that our office staff can also use, because parents have called with concerns regarding access to our campus and what happens if. So just wanted to let you know that has been distributed out to our school sites to share. So if there's any questions, just have people.
I have one question. What
Yes.
are we sending it home to parents?
So we're, that's in
Because I can
discussion.
imagine not sending my child to school if I'm afraid, you know, of what might happen, whether I'm afraid my child would be pulled out of school or whether I'm afraid my child would see their best friend pulled out of
And it
school.
would be probably a similar message,
Yeah, I'm saying, I understand
Yes,
that.
'cause
I'm
this
just
is-
hoping that something
yes.
will go home to parents
we can.
to allay their fears.
And really
So-
is, we're, you know, and that is why we're equipping our staff to be able to, because they are calling. But we can certainly get a message out just in terms of, you know, what does this all mean?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna recess to the financing corporation meeting. Return to the regular board meeting. Our next board meeting is gonna be February 11th at 7 p.m. Here. Can I get an adjournment?
I just wanted to say I will be absent for that meeting.
Okay. Sounds good. Can I get an adjournment?
I moved that we ended.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
She did it. I'll second.
Okay, on a motion by member Torres, second by member Pretty, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, hearing none?
I'm
Okay.
good.